Hey guys, how are you? Hope you're having a wonderful day. Okay, yesterday again was the 50th anniversary of hip hop. Of course, on Saturday, everyone is going to be probably going to different events that celebrate that. Uh, Music plays a great part in all of our lives, whether you choose to assume it or not. Music is something that actually will make a day or can break a day. Sometimes you hear like a song, like I remember my older brother, my mother kept playing the same song over and over again. He threw the record out the window. Somehow, you get a ring in the doorbell, excuse me, somehow someone rings the doorbell and a guy just happened to be walking by and gets hit in the head with the record, and he comes back and says, "Hey, I know you like this song. I figured, maybe you might like this. I just found it." That was karma hitting my brother in the head, right directly back in his head. Now, it's funny. Sometimes people don't look at karma as being the same thing. People think they can do things forever and they think they can ride on that same wave. The wave has got to change because balancing has got to occur. I warned people before. I gave them a heads up, so to speak. I said, look, watch what you're doing because I'm telling you, it's going to come back. Sometimes people don't listen until their head is hard and they get hit in the head, and that's when they get to see exactly what's going on. A man running from the front of the bus to the back of the bus holding an umbrella under his arm. How do you think that's not dangerous? He ended up hitting somebody in the head. The person wanted to fight afterwards. Now, fighting is not going to solve the problem, but he should have known better. He is grown up, okay? Perhaps he thought he was just trying to hurry up and get to the back of the bus. But you see, we pass people in life. We walk past the same people. We experience the same people. How many times have you met the same person in another person's body? That means you got left back sometimes. Sometimes that means you got to learn the lesson. Sometimes that means you did not learn the lesson the first time. We all have a job to do. This earth is our college. Okay, so you never went to college before? This earth is your college. This is your school. And because it's a school, we are all growing up learning more and more. Okay? There's so much information to gain in a day. That's why at the end of the day, when your day has closed and you sit and you think about everything you experienced, all the decisions that you've made, do you know you make more than 100 decisions in a day? You had to make a decision to turn on a light. You had to make a decision to turn on the faucet. You had to make a decision whether you wanted tea or coffee. You had to make a decision whether you wanted to have fruit or solid food for breakfast. You make a decision each second sometimes. When are we going to wake up and realize that with each and every decision that you have to make, there is some form of a residual after that decision that you made? Drinking water is a great residual you receive from that because your body is replenished. Your body is made up of water, so adding more water to it, it might be the balancing of that body. You go to a body of water, you go to swim. You take in that chlorine, you take all the chemicals in that pool had there, right? It is important that you realize that every decision that you make is going to have some form of a backlash. It could be a good one, it could be a bad one. You picked up that pack of cigarettes and you hold it in your pocket. Now as you walk down that street, you're displaying that this is the brand of cigarettes that you smoke. That's not the only thing that you're representing when you carry that box of cigarettes, excuse me. A woman is looking at a man. She's observing him from head to toe. It didn't take her a whole lifetime to check him out. She picked it all up in one swoop. Now he sees her, noticing him. He's trying to hide that pack of cigarettes because he doesn't want her to judge him based upon that box of cigarettes. Joker, she checked you out from the very beginning. That box of cigarettes only gave more of a clue as to who you might be or might not be. You see, when you're representing yourself, such as the young lady who said, I represent myself with a t-shirt, there's much more to be seen than a t-shirt. Just like it's more to be seen and on display than just that box of cigarettes. Guy comes up to me and approaches me and asks if I could buy some of his time. If he could take me to lunch so that he could get some of the ideas that I have displayed, okay? Now, when a person is approaching you, in most cases, they've already thought of this before they approached you. They already had the different idea in their head. They already had all the different ways in which you might respond so that they could change that. One guy chooses to have a person watch you on your platform. And everything, he goes back and forth with this person, and they go back and they tell him, she was doing this today, she was doing that today. Just know that you cannot figure everything out about one individual. And although I could tell you that I was born on T-Bot Avenue, that could be truth or that could be fake. Whatever information you receive, you have to base your own conclusion based upon whatever all the information was presented to you. When are we going to look at all this information and realize that there is some form of information that's not been provided? Okay? Someone stole my mail. They thought they could get all the information from my mail. My mail problem still is not corrected. Somebody's gonna have to pay for that, right? Now, I never had all these problems until I moved to Florida and Arizona. Those are the two places that I had the biggest problems with mail fraud, gang stalking, all these different things that have happened. Now, truthfully speaking, it probably started before I even moved, right? However, my conclusions, my stronger conclusions, have been based upon those observations. You can live in this country, you can live outside the country. If it's meant for you to meet the right person, you're going to meet that right person. The important thing is what are the conclusions, that you're drawing based upon the information that has been provided. All of us, again, are on this learning platform. I had a spiritual advisor years ago, and I shared the spiritual advisor with siblings as well as father figure and the mother figure. Now, all these figures in my life, we all were there. We all took in information. However, how was that information consumed? Did everyone learn what they were supposed to learn? Because if they did not learn what they were supposed to learn, the residual could be jail time. The residual could be spiritual jail time. Because everybody knows, and if you don't know, you've heard it here. Spiritually, you go through it before it hits the earth plane. The earth plane, this all that you see, that you think you see, compromised. But spiritually, again, you're already in spiritual court before you make it to real court, or what you call real. It's real to you because right now you can see it, you can feel it, you can smell the judge's gavel before it hits that actual desk. It's important that we look at what it is that we're doing. People are committing all sorts of crimes. People are acting out because they were not treated, or we're not taught better as children. A young lady, she was once a girl who used to have a lot of temper tantrums, leaving bananas in a book bag and they would rot. She was given a great deal of attention by her family members. That same attention cannot be provided outside the home unless it is attention provided by your husband. Your husband can only be given information about your family that you provided. So if he's on your side, he heard it from you. He didn't hear from everybody else. The important thing is that are you learning? Are you gravitating to the all high? Are you giving the right information? Are you doing the right thing? All of us can judge other people, but you got to judge yourself. You have to see yourself in the mirror every day. I once made a mistake that I was so upset with myself about, and I beat my own self up about it until I had no choice but to forgive myself. You see, one thing about it, you have a problem with someone else, you can walk away from them, you don't have to see them. But when you have to deal with the problem that you committed, the sin you committed, and you have to deal with it, you have no choice but to deal with yourself. And as one person decided they wanted to unalive themselves because of a decision that they made. They decided they want to unalive themselves because they did not want to face the problem. Take it to God in prayer before you even make such a decision. A woman decided once, now this could be a dream. This woman decided that she wanted to unalive herself. They had his funeral and everything. It seems like as soon as she witnessed that funeral, she was back here again, given through birth to a whole new mother. But this mother was actually the person who was her enemy during the last lifetime. You see, sometimes people don't look at things. They don't see the whole picture. We're not to see the whole picture. We are here with our minds erased, so we don't have to remember what happened the last time around. So you come back here and you learn. Now somebody made an observation and they said, oh man, that last video you made was heavy and your eyes were kind of closed, so I think you must have. No, I don't smoke, so it was not that. I didn't have the right amount of rest, but I still came to the platform to say what it was that I needed to say. It is important that you look at your decisions, your actions. Know that just as a child, if you decide to adopt a pet, it's the same thing as adopting a child in some cases. You have to deal with that pet. You have to pay for that food. You have to take care of that pet and take him for walks. The responsibility of cleaning up behind him when you take him for that walk. There's a young lady who continues to walk her dog in the same place, knowing that there are children in that area all the time. You don't clean up behind your dog, but you assume that those children are going to be walking there and the parents are going to pick them up every time they see the poo. Clean up behind your dog. Now, every time I say something, people don't want to listen. You're going to walk into your own stuff because you didn't clean up behind that dog. And I'm definitely saying it because I know it's going to happen because you don't seem to understand. Nobody should have to tell on you in order for you to handle your situation. Now, I'm saying that specifically for a specific individual who comes to my channel, and every day I see her walking this dog and she does not clean up behind the dog. That's personal. We can separate that. So, as we move forward in life, as we're working on forgiving ourselves as well as others, we must look at these actions, okay? Now, although you might think behind closed doors, you can continue to look at the same video and how do I put this? You continue to divinely look at everyone and make certain judgment. While you're making your judgments, you're watching certain people's platforms and you are committing an act while you're watching the platforms. You know what you're doing and other people know too. Every time we're on these platforms, people assume that you might be looking and you might be making a video and nobody can see what you're doing. In some cases, people are watching your actions all the time. These phones have other visual acts that they do, okay? It might look like the camera's facing in only two directions, but it's facing in more than those two directions. Now, I'm dropping different hints here. You can read between the lines if you so choose to, or not. The gig is up. We all are going to be held accountable for our actions. Be mindful. Some of us have already gone through the dark night of the soul. A lot of us have already completed certain acts and we've already received our residuals. But it's important that you realize that although you don't think other people see, God sees all, okay? I continue to say that because it seems as though some people are not taking it in. They're not realizing that those actions are going to be met with certain reactions and you might not be so happy to deal with them. People get upset because I say certain things on this platform. You don't have to come and visit this platform if you so choose to. There are plenty more other people and they're reading cards, okay? A lot of them, okay? I don't have to do that. I don't even have to read the cowrie shells, okay? Because we already know there's certain people who are doing that. Some people have not brought it to the platform yet, but they're doing it. Whatever the case, it is most important that you realize that everyone's actions are going to be held accountable during one point in perspective or another. Right now we're going through Mercury retrograde. So you have to expect certain people from the past to come back. Now let's say it's not your ex that comes back. Let's say it's a whole different individual who has certain acts or they behave in a certain way that reminds you of your ex. You have to learn to grow and get through this problem, okay? I could sit up here and sing a song, and I could sit up here and do a dance, but some people are not getting the point. The point is that we are growing here on this platform and others. We are growing and trying to persevere. While we're trying to persevere, there are going to be different acts that are committed. We can all go to the same movie, watch the same movie, and gain different information from that same movie. We are looking at people's signs. You meet a person and you say, oh, what sign are you? Oh, I'm Cancer. Oh, I'm Libra. Oh, I'm Sagittarius. Whatever the sign you are, Leo, Virgo, we're all learning from each other, okay? Because it's much more than just that. Some people go and they think that they can uncover people's Akashic records. The problem is that you think you know something. There's a lot of information you have no idea. You continue to knock on doors and have those doors open up to things that you should not be involved in. You're going to have to pay a heavier penalty than it was just to gain admissions into that movie. A lot of people are not seeing the full picture, okay? Some of us had to be separated from family members, and those family members took it personal. It wasn't personal. God decides what he decides, and you are not to question it. If God tells me that I have to cut somebody off and I have to live my life without that person, that is what I'm doing, okay? Now people say, well, how did you get your information or what have you? You need to find out how you can tap in and get the necessary information that you need to receive, okay? Now, I was very close to one individual who I thought, every time I spoke to them, they kept asking me certain questions. But they were asking me questions to give information to people who should not have received that information. And when they did that, not only did they knock down what we were building, now our bond was not as strong. Now they also ended up breaking other rules. Because when you break a solid relationship up, when you defy certain laws, you break up that relationship. You see, somebody can talk to you, right? And you can have a relationship with them. You can think, oh, this is really, we have a bond, we have strength in this relationship. And then someone can record that same conversation and present it back to that individual who knew and felt that they should not have been retold as it was, okay? Somebody sat down and had dinner with a relative, and that dinner, that food was compromised. They were so happy to be with that relative that they forgot that they were warned not to eat with that relative. Can't break bread with everyone, okay? Some people say, oh, that's your family. How do you talk about your family like that? How do you know that we were really family members? How do you know that they were not, that the person wasn't bought? How do you know that through an exchange, a child was sold or bought? There's so much stuff going on out here. You have no idea. And when you look, you can't just judge based upon what the person looks like. You know how many people have been separated and brought to other countries, other worlds, and they might look like the individual, yet they have no blood ties whatsoever? You see, I remember my mother saying years ago, she was very upset with an individual, very upset with this individual. She gave birth to the person, and the child ended up looking exactly like that person who she was very angry with. That's why they say be careful what you think about, be careful about your actions. A thought can create an action. Be mindful of the decisions that you make, for one decision can change everything. I had a Volkswagen Jetta, and I really was enjoying it. I chose this Jetta out of all the different cars that I test drove. One day I came out the house and I was warming the vehicle up. I didn't have to warm the vehicle up, but in New York, we're taught to warm the vehicle up. Well, I was taught to warm the vehicle up before you actually drive the vehicle, okay? Now that's a German vehicle, so really it should not have had to be warmed up, right? But this is what I did. Now, one thing I do when I'm even turning on a vehicle, I'm checking things out before I even get to what I'm about to do. So I noticed that there is a perfect square in front of my head, directly where the driver's head would be. The person studied how I sit in the vehicle and where I sit, strongly enough that they sketched it out. Now, this equipment that the person used had to be authorized equipment being used. So it looked like it was etched exactly in a perfect square, right where my head would be. Okay? First clue. Secondly, I go and I decide I want to get my vehicle washed, but family members told me that this one individual cleans cars and does a good job and he won't charge you that much. I went and got my car fixed, cleaned by this person. When I got my car back, the passenger seat had a hole in it. The actual covering, my seat was perfect before I went and got my vehicle taken care of. Oh, when I got my vehicle back, it was taken care of all right. It had, the passenger seat was damaged. Okay, no problem. You see, sometimes a person will say, oh, just do whatever you want to do to that person. They're not going to say anything, not going to do anything. You see, sometimes it's easier to talk about something or to solve a problem without having that talk. I used to be a very confrontational person. And in some cases, somebody might actually say I am still confrontational, because there's certain things that I will approach a person on. But it's not confrontational in a way that you would think. The old me was more confrontational than I am now. Now I take it to God. So I don't have to confront you in the same way. I just listen between the lines, and I'll listen to you speaking. But your mind will be saying one thing and your mouth will be saying another. You see, people assume that people have nothing, they don't know anything. And sometimes a person will judge you based upon your clothing. And they say, look at how she dresses. My cleanup game as well as my cutoff game is real smooth. If I cut you off and I'm not dealing with you anymore, everyone in our surroundings who know both of us will know that there was a reason behind it. They will know because they know that I don't do anything for no apparent reason. Just like I observed my vehicle, I never said anything. I never said anything about what was underneath my vehicle, okay? It was a setup. Now I'm paying for a vehicle. I'm paying to drive a vehicle that was compromised. Why would I do that? So if I turn my vehicle in and I choose not to have anything to do with it, and you come along and decide you're going to present my necessary information and pick my vehicle up, whoever the fool was who gave you my car in the first place, whoever the foolish one was, I feel sorry for them as well as you. Because the individuals who played parts in all of this, it's been recorded. It's been recorded and it's been played back so many times that it's tired at this point. Because although some things might be personal, I'm not making it personal. I'm just basically presenting it here. The people that you've had follow me, I'm presenting it here. It's only a matter of time. If I go to the train station in California and I see the same person who I saw in Florida follow me, how is that coincidence? You see, I may never say anything about certain things, and I'll wait until the right time to say it. Because there's no way in the world the same person would be with me in Arizona, California, and then meet me back in Florida. Not unless I was inviting you on the trip in the first place. Now, a lot of people, when they first met me on, not this platform, because we had a certain person in common who made certain comments about me. And they painted a picture so that you could believe such a lie. I really said I'm not going to use that word. Such a story, okay? People can paint pictures all day long. Let me tell you something. Tyler Perry approached me today. I have so many stories for his platforms. We are all gifted and talented in so many different ways, okay? However, sometimes the presentation is not going to be the same. You see, I had a whole bunch of clothes. I had a whole summer wardrobe, and I put them in my aunt's attic. In a matter of time, that wardrobe was thrown away, given to people, a whole thing, okay? It was 2 bags. One bag I specifically said I did not want touched. But because I put it in your environment and you feel like you want to wear some of my, I don't have a problem sharing. I don't have a problem sharing at all. But if you take my things and you squander them all, that's a whole different story. Now, had I still had that wardrobe, I would probably be wearing that wardrobe on this platform. It's only a matter of time. You could always get things back. You can always repurchase certain things. But certain designers, I have to chase that person down to have them remake certain things. Wedged shoes, if I could, I definitely want to recreate those same shoes all over again, because there's no way in the world. I have not seen those shoes ever. Even when I've looked in different on different websites, I went all the way to Italy to find a certain pair of shoes. They no longer sell those shoes. So it looks like I'm going to have to design them myself. Those individuals who know me know that if I am driven to do something, it's going to happen. However, let's get back to our order. Divine order tells us that there are certain actions in which we must carry out. Be mindful of the things that we say and we do, okay? A lot of people have been initiated spiritually. That does not mean you're initiated in the same way when you're part of a whole different group of people, I'll say. Certain people get initiated and other people are jealous or envious of them being initiated. You have your own time watch, you have your own lifeline, you have your own bridges to cross. Your experience is going to be very different from someone else's. God might take you through a whole different journey than someone else before you are initiated. Why is it that you choose to judge other people? Why is it that you are measuring yourself up against someone else? The journey is totally different for you than that other individual. It is most important, and I know I've said it time and time again, that you start evaluating your own actions to improve your circumstances without having to complain or judge or compare against another individual. Journey's different, body's different, mind's different. Walk in your role and let go. This is Lovely being you. Take care of yourself, all right? Bye.